Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I'm your host, Matt Wolf, Editor-in-Chief of Car Wash Magazine. So, last week I had a little bit of beard FOMO, and we saw all these great car wash beards, and so I thought I'd give it a shot and grow mine out this week for you guys. So, I don't know, it looks pretty good. I might keep it, but there were some other folks who were maybe not so excited to miss out on the beard joke last week, and so let's take a quick look at who else maybe had a little beard FOMO. All right, everybody, welcome back. Here we are on another episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I just couldn't get past the itchy stage with that whole beard, so did a quick shave. Now I feel a lot better. So thanks for joining us this week. We've got a great show for you. I do have, first things first, I've got some great swag on today from our friend Dave Edwards at the Car Wash on Hamlin Highway in Pennsylvania. So Dave, thanks for sending that over. Again, if you guys want to send me your swag, I will wear it on the show and get a little love for your business. So, hey, shameless plugs are okay. All right, so the other thing I want to mention real quick, last week, if you were watching the show, you caught this. If you weren't watching last week, we can go out to carwash.org/industry-pulse and catch an update on what's going on in the industry right now. So International Car Wash Association does now these quarterly surveys to operators and supplier side of the business to see kind of how things are trending, what the overall sentiment is in terms of how we think the business is going from an operator and supplier side. So check that out, carwash.org/industry-pulse, and stay tuned on those. If you do get those surveys in your email inbox, make sure you fill those out. Another fun and exciting thing for you this week. Last week, we also talked about the Car Wash Career Center, careers.carwash.org. That is the latest and greatest place for you to post job listings and acquire talent and look for that next car wash career opportunity. So dozens of jobs posted there already since last week. Job postings right now are free until October 1st. So take advantage of that. Lots of resources there for you, resume writing, career coaching, all kinds of great stuff there. Check that out at careers.carwash.org. All right, in this episode, joining us is going to be Daniele from the Daniele family and Royal Car Washes, but the story goes much, much deeper than that. I'm super excited to get him on the show, but before that, we do have a joke for you this week, because what kind of show would this be without a joke? Today's joke comes from an ICA staff member, Elizabeth Hardy, so I can take no credit or blame for this one. So, as always, send me your jokes or you're stuck with mine. This week's joke goes a little something like this. All right. I was at the gas station the other day and was thinking back to when air used to be free. And, the deal is that I couldn't remember when it changed, but it's now $1.50 to get air in my tires. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, man, what's the reason for that? And ultimately, I finally figured it out. The reason the air is no longer free? Inflation. All right, so... oh, man, I get myself every time with the jokes. If you don't like my jokes, send me yours. Here we go. Without further ado, we are going to bring in a great introduction video of our guest on the show today, courtesy of Sonny's The Car Wash Factory.
Hi, I'm Anthony Analetto, president of the equipment division here at Sonny's. And I know you're all wondering what's with the bow tie, but today I'm here to be with Anthony and Danny Daniele of the Royal Car Wash at the first of their 3 locations that they've opened in Rochester, New York. The location behind me finished its first full year of operation at 100,000 cars, and today, after only 4 years, is projected to wash over 270,000 cars. But the huge growth isn't the reason I want to introduce you to the Daniele family. When you look at the wash behind me, it's hard to imagine that, as Danny says, the building a car wash in the town of Brighton, where it now sits, was actually illegal when they first started. Whereas some investors would have moved on to something else, the Daniellis took it as a challenge. This is a true story of one of my favorite sayings: the harder you work, the luckier you get. The Daniellis are a family of serial entrepreneurs, owning everything from restaurants, marinas, apartment buildings, along with the Daniele Construction Company, which makes this all happen. I'm actually honored that the family agreed to do this video. Let's meet Danny and Anthony now to take us on a behind-the-scenes look at the culture, the passion, and intensity that this family has leveraged to do the impossible since 1969. Hey.
Hey everybody, we have on the show with us today Danny Daniele, Daniele family and Royal Car Washes. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me. I'm humbled to be here. I'm not quite sure what I know that you guys don't already know, but whatever I can do to entertain, I'm here for.
Well, we're gonna find out. I think you guys have a great story and a lot to share with folks in this industry. So I know a lot of this because we had a chance to talk last week, but let's share a little bit with everybody else. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you guys ended up in car washing? I mean, the video that we just had from Sonny's was great. Sonny's is a big time supporter of ICA and a Century Club member, but I know that there's a little bit of backstory here that you all have.
Right. And we talked earlier, one of the things that is interesting is how our family got started. And I'll give you a quick little 40-second intro. My father came to Italy not speaking any English back in the 60s. He came with the military. He finished his tour with the military and he decided to stay in America. He literally just had one briefcase with him, and he started working construction. He was on construction equipment for years. Then he opened up a pizzeria. He met my mother. They got married. She was actually from the same hometown in Italy, so they're both from Italy. And they worked that little pizzeria for probably 4 or 5 years, just the two of them. They were the only two employees there. Today they still talk about how they work every day except for Christmas and this, that, and the other. I don't know how true that was, but that's what they tell us. After that, they finally opened up a restaurant. That picture right there, I think that you put up there that's my dad's first pizzeria. And then they opened up a restaurant after that in Rochester when they moved here. And then they opened up a second restaurant that he built from scratch. My brother and I were both graduating from Auburn University. And he said, I want to build my own restaurant. It's one of my dreams. And if you guys want to be involved in the business, we'll do it. Otherwise, I don't want to spend all this time and money if you guys aren't going to take it over one day. And my brother and I pretty much both said, I don't know if we want to be in the restaurant business our whole life, but we're definitely going to be working with the family. So let's build it and see what happens. We built that. And in the meantime, we had also purchased a marina and we transformed that. My father had always gotten into real estate and construction because he kind of had some roots in doing construction. And, today my brother, myself, and my father, we all three work together. And we kind of ADD, I guess. We have a hotel. We have 2 marinas now. We're building a Whole Foods anchored center not far from here. We're building 98 apartments, 5 stories overlooking the water. A couple other businesses I'm sure I'll forget, but it's been fun. We've got a great group we put a wonderful team together that we've been fortunate to have surround us that gets most of that work done. Well, one day you asked the question after I furloughed a bit, how do we get in the car wash business? And one day we were in the offices at one of our restaurants, and a guy came to talk to my father and said, hey, do you guys want to buy a laser wash? And I think he called it In-Bay Automatic or whatever the official name is. We didn't even know what it was. And there was a piece of land for sale down the street from the restaurant, great corner. And my father called my brother and I into the office and said, hey, you guys want to buy this little car wash? Maybe we can put it on this piece of property down the street. And the piece of property was, I think it was like $1 million they were asking at the time. And we both said, if we're going to do something over there, we got to do something more than a laser type wash because it's an expensive piece of property. And it'd be great if we could put a conveyor car wash over there, like some of our competitors in the area. And that night, we didn't think of anything of it, but we just both on our own Googled car wash business, car wash equipment, trying to see what the hell everything was about. Like everybody else who got in the business. Like we do every day. And like everyone else, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't know anything about car washes. But the next morning, we both came into the office. We both scribbled some little business plans together, and we both had the same numbers, and it seemed like it was a good idea to start a car wash. So we went to the town and said, hey, we want to put a car wash over here. What's the process? And that's where they told us, unfortunately, you can't put a car wash in the town of Brighton, New York here, and they're illegal. And we said, okay, well, let's just pretend that we had to do it, what would we have to do? And they told us this process of changing the law, and they said, but I don't think you want to do that. And I said, well, give me the paperwork, we'll fill it out, and we'll see what happens. It took literally 3 years to get it approved. I mean, it was I don't want to say it was a disaster, but it was definitely stressful. Thankfully, we had other things going on, so whether we got it or not wasn't that big of a deal. Although at some point we had to commit to the property. Long story short, we finally got the approvals. So by that time, with the legal and the engineering, we were so far over budget of what we'd put together that when we talked to our contractor that we had worked with, we started to put a timeline together. And they said, it's going to be about 6 to 9 months. And we said 6 to 9 months, and it's a small building. We built bigger buildings than that in 3 months. So we expected it to be a 3-month build.
Yeah.
And they said, you can't do it in 3 months. And we were so eager to get started, and we had so much backed up. So we didn't argue, but we had a pretty heated argument. At some point they said, well, if you guys think you guys can do it in three months, then do it yourself. And that's what we did. So the next day we sent out the paperwork to a bunch of contractors that we knew. I acted as the general contractor. My brother worked from the office with all the permitting and all that stuff. And I think there's a picture you threw around here with my brother and I working on the construction site. And believe it or not, we got it done in 90 days. And I think that was because I was on site just about every day. And whenever there was a question, I could get through it real quick. Sonny's Car Wash, they were every step of the way, they were showing us what we needed to do. And whenever there was a problem, my brother was in the office helping, and we had some staff as well. While we were running the restaurants and the marinas and everything else, it was a fun process. What we didn't know was once the building was done after 3 months, that it took like a month or so to put the equipment in. We thought, okay, send the equipment, we'll plug it in and go. Apparently, as we all know now, doing that car wash takes 5 to 6 weeks sometimes to set everything up. So long story short, we opened the car wash, and we thought we got the best corner in Rochester over here. We're going to kill it. I think we did free car washes for 2 or 3 hours just to make sure the equipment was working. Yeah. And then we're like, let's start charging. And nobody came in. And for a week or two, it was just, I think we were doing like under 40 or 50 cars a day. Woof. And after all that time and that investment, we're just saying to ourselves, we must be the biggest morons in the world for doing what we just did. But we stuck with it like we do everything else. And every day and every month, it got a little bit busier and busier. And then after a year or two, we realized, wow, this is a heck of a business. And we finally decided to say, let's open up a second one. We found another location in a more business-friendly environment. And we got that approved, I think, in 60 days. Frankly, my brother and I joke, we were at that meeting and they approved it. And we looked at each other and said, did they just approve the project? Is it possible to approve that quick? We put that one up. Then we put up a third one. And then we came up with a goal of having 10 locations by 2020, which at the time we thought was impossible. But here we are in 2020. We've surpassed that goal. We're working on the development of number 12, number 13, and we're just finding a piece of property now for number 14. So our goal is to have 20 locations in the next 3 or 4 years. And we're on track to do that, and it's been great. It's been fun.
That is amazing growth, and I think it's more impressive because it took you 3 years to fight through that initial kind of period. I want to know if you had done that second location first, right? So if you had found that other location before you did this 3-year one, would you have ever bothered to still try the Brighton location?
I think so. I think one of the imperfections of our brains is that when we decide we want to do something, we just don't stop. Yeah. We kind of we call it whatever it takes to get there. It's not, we didn't coin that phrase. Everyone's got it. And once we fall in love with a project, it's hard for us to back down. I don't think we've ever backed down. We're in a project right now. We're trying to put a Whole Foods. Some people know about it. It's a Whole Foods anchored development, not too far from where we're talking right now. And Wegmans Supermarket's been suing us, and that project's 4.5 years into it. When we bought our marina almost 15 years ago, it was 186 slips, and now it's 450 slips or something. And it took us 7 years to get the Department of Environmental Conservation to approve that. And, I used to have a lot more hair than I do now. I guess thankfully I still have some, but they have definitely sucked the lives out of us. And, it's disheartening because sometimes you feel like as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you're supposed to grow and create jobs. But it seems, especially in New York State, God bless New York, but we've got a crazy guy governor over here that doesn't make business easy. And you just have to fight hard to get there. And that's what we've done. Whatever it takes attitude that we have, we actually created this pin. Here it is. It says whatever it takes, WIT. And all of our staff, they have to earn it. They have to do something that goes above and beyond. They have to do whatever it takes to get a customer happy, fix a situation, create a magic moment. So everyone's got a story behind their pin. And we've kind of created that culture of there's no quitting in baseball type thing. There's no crying in baseball. You just go forward. And that's what kind of gives us that energy to keep moving forward.
Well, you guys on the people side of it with that, you have that pin, right? That whatever it takes pin, but you also have some cool culture cards that like you guys legitimately make part of the uniform, right? Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, I got one over here. This is so. It's like a little mini booklet. It's not a booklet. It's just a card folded in half. It sounds sexier than it is. On the outside, it says, "We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen." So that's kind of the first thing that we talk about. And a lot of the things that we have here, I've taken from other people. So this particular saying is actually from the Ritz-Carlton. And the idea of the culture card, I've learned from the Ritz-Carlton. I read one of their books, and every employee has one. So we took a lot of what they had and turned it into our own. When we were in the restaurant business, the "We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen" obviously fit really well, but we've carried that through onto the car wash business as well. And it to kind of portray the truth that we treat each other no different than we treat the customers. And it kind of reminds us of what we're doing every day and reminds us to be kind to each other. It doesn't always happen. I work with my brother. He's actually over here. I'll turn the camera over. I'll give everybody vertigo. There's my brother, Anthony.
There he is.
He is not a gentleman. I do not treat him always like a gentleman. I do treat him like a lady sometimes, though.
What fun are brothers if you can't pick on them, right?
That's right. So we're ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen, except for my brother.
Yeah, perfect.
No, he's been integral in the whole thing. And our offices, we've had for almost now, 25 years. We've sat in the same room. And we're able to get a lot more done that way. Thankfully, we get along real well. We think the same way. So we're never looking behind our shoulder with a partner of, what are they thinking? Are they trying to get in or out at the different times? I think that's been one of the magic aspects of what's allowed us to grow and my father to grow. He's been so gracious of pretty much handing everything over to my brother and myself. And as long as his credit card never gets declined, he lets us continue moving forward. I think the day he gets a decline, that's where our game is over.
Yeah, that's when the leash runs out.
Right.
Is there anything specific that you all have learned maybe from the restaurant side of the house or in any of the other businesses that you all operate that has been especially helpful in terms of bringing that to car wash?
I've got to imagine that, as hard-headed as we are, we have picked up some things in the restaurant business. That's where the majority of my brother and I's lives have been is the restaurant business. And I think just by nature, for the amount of years we spent in that, you learn how important it is, the customer service aspect. And anyone that's worked in the restaurant business knows that it's probably the most intimately detailed customer service related industry, where you're literally cooking food for people, you're feeding them, they're tasting it. If they don't like it, they have to tell you why they didn't like it. You're touching them sometimes, you're touching the food and utensils, and the cleanliness is a big deal. And it brought us to a level of detail-oriented focus on what we provided to our customers and our staff. And I think that definitely helped with the car wash. So when we got into the marina example, we didn't know anything about marinas. The marina was about 50% occupancy. And the first thing we did was we just spent a ton of money on the landscaping. We've got new signs, we got new uniforms, we've got happy, smiling individuals working now, being cordial to the customers. And within about maybe a year and a half, 2 years, we were at 100% occupancy. And I think there's a picture up right now. That marina was half the size when we purchased it, and it was half empty. Now it's more than twice the size, and we've got a waiting list. And it's only because of the staff that works there and the culture that they create for the customers. They just love being there. And when we did the car wash, it was the same thing. Although we didn't know anything about the car wash business, we do understand as best we can what customers are looking for. I think anyone listening knows that we're all customers. When you go somewhere, you want it to look nice, you want it to be clean, you want it to smell nice. You want to see someone who's smiling back at you, feel that you have some sort of attention on you. And that's been probably the biggest thing that we learned in the restaurant business. Not only did we learn it, but it was ingrained, and it became a reactionary muscle. So now with our staff, that whatever it takes attitude we have is somebody comes in, something's wrong with the car. We all know, we can just rewash your car, but it's whatever it takes to make sure that they know it's not, hey, just turn back around. It's, hey, no problem, ma'am. Come on back around. Let me see if I can do this. It's showing that we do care. And a lot of the operators out there these days have really done a great job. And we're far from the best, but we're trying to become the best.
Well, and it's so much of that is about creating that experience that you guys talk about, right? And with your background coming from restaurants, every interaction with that customer is an opportunity to get them to come back to your restaurants to talk to their friends. So really applying that to the car wash industry, I think is super smart and perfect in terms of thinking about the customer mindset.
Right. Yeah, before you asked about the first car wash, when we opened up, we had very slow business and we didn't know if we made the biggest mistake. And my father always said, just keep doing what you do and every day do it a little bit better. And eventually it grew. And I remember when we had Mario's Via Bruzzi. So it was one of the biggest restaurants we had. It's about 300 people banquet facility and 200 in the dining room. It's huge, 500 people total in the restaurant. And we started doing a Sunday brunch early on. Yeah. And we do weddings at night, so we didn't get out of there till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Sunday brunch the next day would start at 9 a.m. I mean, it was hell getting ready. You got a mess from the wedding before, and then you got to set up this beautiful brunch. And we didn't do very many customers the first time we did the brunch. I mean, we probably had a dozen people show up. And then the next week, we maybe had 16 people. My brother and I said, you know what, Pop, we got to stop doing the brunch because this is not going to pick up the way we thought. And he said back then the same thing. Every day, every Sunday, I want this brunch to be bigger and better. Don't raise the price. Just make sure it looks bigger and better and it looks nicer. Come up with something every week. And it took about 2 or 3 years of hell, frankly. But that became the busiest day of the week for us at that restaurant. I mean, the brunch, the last few years that we were open doing that, that was after 25 years. So we were charging, I think, $39 a head. And we were doing almost 2,000 people a day. I mean, it was crazy. Now, the restaurant business has changed quite a bit, as we all know. So we're happy to be out of the restaurant business. And the car wash business compared to it, although it's still a very difficult business compared to the restaurant business, it's a breath of fresh air.
Well, Danny, we are supremely grateful to have you in the car wash industry. We're going to get a look at one of your locations here in just a minute. I want you to hang tight with me because we're going to share with everybody a top 10 list of ways that you know that you are officially in the car wash industry. These are the top 10 ways you know that you are a car washer. Number 10, you call out retracts driving down the road with friends and family. Number 9, your significant other is so used to your uniform, they forget to tell you to take it off on date night. Number 8, your children and friends know not to ask for things on rainy days. Number 7, you vacuum patterns into the carpet at home. Number 6, you own car wash only shoes, and they're gross. Number 5, you have spare socks in multiple vehicles. Number 4, the weather report is the most important part of the news, obviously. Number 3, your khaki pants are actually blue, yellow, and pink. Number 2, you spend over $200 washing your rental car on vacation. Guilty. And the number 1 reason you know that you are a car washer, the stench of the pit puts you in the mood. That's disgusting. Danny, I love that wash. That's a great little video highlighting your location. Beautiful location. Tell us a little bit about that one in particular.
So that's our Webster location. We opened that, I think, almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's a great spot. Not a whole lot of traffic over there. I think we had maybe 17, 18,000 cars a day, but that location will do well over 250,000 cars.
Wow.
Not a whole lot of competition in that area. Great demographics. One of the things on that one, we opened up in January. I think it was January 6th when we opened up, and it was the coldest January in the history of Rochester. And I felt terrible for these kids. I mean, we were all out there, my brother, my dad. I mean, it was probably, with the wind chill, it was like -7, -10 degrees. Everything was freezing. It was the first free car wash week that we did too.
Yeah.
So you can't not do that. And the moms and dads would drop off these kids working for the first job ever because they had just been hired. And I'd see them get out of the car in their warm car. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. And we always try and do everything we can for the staff to make them comfortable. So we have lots of jackets. We have hot cocoa every day. We have the heaters running. I mean, with extra gloves and hats.
Yeah.
There's a guy in the business, John Agnew. He's with Breeze Through Car Wash. You probably know him. Odd guy. I mean, let's all face it, he's an odd guy, but he's a super sweet guy. And if he's listening, he's an odd guy. But he's got, probably of all the car wash groups I've ever met, he's got the biggest dedication to the staff. He does tremendous bonuses and tremendous events he does for the staff. And one day I'd like to get to that level. For some reason, I'm still working our way up there. But it's that philosophy, I think, that Webster location in particular, and maybe it was because of the opening they had that was so strenuous.
Yeah.
It's a great team atmosphere over there. And that site worked out really well. It was a tight spot. You saw the vacuums are right up against the building on it. But it's working out really well.
Well, and the thing I love about that location, and I've been stalking your social media feed for the better part of the last couple of weeks, so I've been seeing lots of photos of your washes, and I love the vibe that you all kind of go with at the wash. Your employees all have bow ties. They kind of feel like a nice bank, like it's like a nice trusted, clean space. Like, talk a little bit about some of those decisions and why you guys go that route.
Right. So when we got into that car wash business, the first one, we decided on lots of different avenues of what was going to make our car wash different, what were going to be our differentiating factors. We all know that you have to have some, otherwise it's very difficult to compete. And our biggest competitor here in Rochester is very well known. So we did lots of surveys, and the top three things that people were not happy with was tipping, the constant sales, and the long lines. So our mantra is faster lines, cleaner cars, happier people. And with that, we do very little sales. It's all the automated pay terminals from DRB. They've been doing a great job on those. And we don't want a customer ever to say the word no. So that was one of the big things. The second thing is, like you're saying about the atmosphere, we put a lot more emphasis into the landscaping. We wanted the building not to look so much like a car wash, but you said it, you hit the nail on the head. We want it to look like a fancy bank. And that's why we've got a lot of coping, and it doesn't have that car wash look. It's got a very colonial, old school look. There's a nice arch coming in and out. Everyone likes to go through an arch, at least in my opinion. And that was a big part of what we wanted to do. It also helped that the town that we were trying to get our first car wash in, they were very picky about how the building looked.
Okay.
So that helped kind of form that really nice look. We started pretty much with that same look. They changed a few little things, but we wanted it to feel not like a car wash, but like a nice experience. And we've all learned that it's not about the car wash. It's about the experience when you leave. It's that little pump of adrenaline of, wow, that was a nice feeling. I can't wait to come back.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're in this for, right? And you all get that from your background in the restaurant business. Hospitality is huge, and creating those customer experiences is one of the best things that you can do for your business. Right. I have two more questions for you, and then I'm going to let you off the hook here. One, I really want to know, you guys were in the restaurant business for a long time. You have marinas, you have hotels, you have construction. You're going to have a toothpaste factory, I think you told me last week, or drive-through toothpaste. I don't remember what it was. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
Why keep coming back to car wash, and why keep pushing that industry forward?
In fairness, it's not just car washes. I mean, we had one marina, and then we decided to get another one. We did a few different retail constructions. We're doing more. Of all the different things that we've done and that we are doing, the car wash business by far is the most rewarding, and it has the most exponential growth. It's the most scalable. And as we all know, you can open up several locations. We're fortunate that many of our locations are very close. All their locations are within an hour and a half drive, which is phenomenal and makes it much less stressful to operate. Right now, the margins, as we all know, are very fair in the car wash industry, just like they were 60 years or 50 years ago when my father opened up his first pizzeria selling pizzas for $5. Now you can still find pizzas for $5, and I'm sure he had a much higher profit margin at $5 back in the 60s than they do at Little Caesars today at $5. And one day that'll happen in the car wash business. I mean, we're riding the wave, and I love to ride the wave like anybody else. It's fun. The comment I'd made once was, who knows what's going to happen in the car wash industry? Maybe cars are going to fly and they don't need roads anymore, and they got some Teflon coating. And then we're going to have to turn these places into toothpaste factories, drive-through toothpaste factories, whatever it is, we'll figure it out and we'll get to the end of it. But why I love the business so much right now is because it's a flourishing business. We've all gone through this COVID stuff, and we've all pretty much come out really good out of it because it's somewhat recession-proof, and we don't have a lot of interaction with the employees and customers. It's a great business to be in. So, I mean, we couldn't be more thankful and grateful that we got lucky and we got in at the right time, where it's like the Wild West of car washes. It's manifest destiny. Everyone's trying to get the most land they can and do what they can while they still have the energy.
I love the the comment you made about the scalability of it, because that is the thing that you see as folks start to build out 1, 2, 3, 4 washes, and the folks that are doing it really well have a couple of things going for them. Number one, obviously their process is repeatable. It's pretty simple. It's it's something that you can train on well. But I think the second thing that's most important, and we talk about this probably every week on this program, is the people. And so I think that what you all are doing with your people is fantastic. I know you mentioned that you're working on it and you're hoping to become the guru someday, but I think you guys do an excellent job. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. We just had our annual manager dinner last week. We had about 40, 45 of us. We rented up the top floor of a roof deck. We spent probably, almost $200 a person, 5-course meal, open bar. And it was stuff that most of these guys, including ourselves, don't get to do very often. And it was an amazing night. Everyone was laughing and everyone was talking. We did some speeches. That's really a gratifying thing. My father was almost to tears seeing the growth that he had been a part of through coming to Italy with absolutely nothing. And now he's got all these people that know him and love him. And it's been phenomenal.
Danny, I've got one last question for you. Easiest one of the whole day. What gives you hope? What keeps you positive?
I would say the biggest thing is right behind me over here. I got my kids. I got Caleb and Grace. My brother's got 3 kids. The future is going to happen. It doesn't matter how bad a day is. The sun is always going to come up tomorrow. It's going to same thing next month and next year and 10 years. And what gives me hope is that a lot of these younger kids that we're seeing growing up, especially my own, they're great minds, and it's important that we mold them to do the right thing and give them the knowledge they need. We're never going to pressure. I'm never going to pressure my kids to come into the business. If they don't, they'll get absolutely nothing. So it's up to them. I mean, I don't want to push them, but they better damn well come into the business if they know what's good for them. And I've been slowly brainwashing them, but again, I say that tongue in cheek. They don't have to. If they want to be a doctor, they can. But we're hoping that they're going to join the business. So we try and make that as fun for them to be a part of. They come and wash cars and spray cars and the restaurant and the marina and everything else. They drive in the golf carts. But what gives me hope is that there's another generation behind me, just like my father gave us that path forward. We're hoping we do the same for our kids.
I love that. That is such an optimistic answer, and I love the forward thinking mentality there, Danny. I'm going to let you get back to the business of, well, I would say the business of washing cars, but you're washing cars, you're doing boats, you got a lot going on. So I'll let you get back to that. But thank you so much for taking a few minutes today to share your story with the industry.
Thanks for having me, Matt. God bless. Keep doing the show, and thanks for doing what you do.
Hey, thank you.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So that's going to do it for this episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. This was episode 18, if you can believe it. We've been at this for a while now. So if you want to catch old episodes of the show, lots of great stuff in every episode, you can go to carwashmagazine.com. We've got the episodes there. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Facebook. You can go to anywhere you consume these kinds of things. So thank you for watching. If you have stories of people or stories you want us to cover, please let me know. mdewolf@carwash.org. We always want to talk to more car wash industry folks and tell those stories. Special member thanks. None of this stuff is possible without the support of International Car Wash Association members. And so for those members out there, thank you for supporting us in what we do and bringing this industry together. If your membership is not current, you should probably get on that because we do need your support. And then the last thing I want to remind you all about is Car Wash the Podcast. When you've got some windshield time, make sure you subscribe to that. We've got a good episode featuring Sarah Ross, who you may have remember from one of the early episodes of this program, talking about brain science and how that impacts what we do and the decisions we make and how we get through our days. So, as always, I'm going to leave you this week with a little bit of a member testimonial, just to give you folks some idea of what it means to be an ICA member. But when you're out there, keep it clean.
My name is Beth Martin, and I'm the marketing director of Ohio-based Express Wash Concepts, which is the parent company of Moo Express, Flying Ace Express, and Clean Express Auto Wash. I consider an ICA membership to be an investment from both a personal development as well as a business perspective. The networking and educational opportunities available through events such as the Car Wash Show and the Women's Leadership Experience have helped me personally better understand car wash and customer trends. I've developed a strong network of fellow professionals to bounce ideas off of, and together we've collaboratively addressed and overcome industry-related obstacles. So with that said, if I had one word to describe my experience with the ICA, it would be collaboration.